Hey guys, Edison here doing a massive CGC return. This was my January bulk order with subgrades. This was like 135, 37 cards. I think around there. Yeah, and this, as I said, is the stuff with subgrades, so it's a little bit more interesting and a little bit higher end. Here, just to start, we have some alternate art Reds challenges from SM12A. Cool card, Japanese exclusive artwork. In that same line, here's the Blues Tactics of Blue with Charmander. I personally think this is the better card because I like Charmander, I like the vibrant red, and Blue is a cool character. I think I was looking at that because the surface, the centering was what really pulled that card down, which feels bad because the rest of the card's mint. We've got a 9/5 just like this one if that centering was a 9. Just looking at it, but these are great looking cards. Just hold them up to the light. I will say modern full arts are so cool, and I don't know, for people who are like WOTC purists, I feel like they're missing out on some great art. Here we have a supporter Pikachu. I've talked about this art in the past. I just like it. I was actually mentioned to me by a friend that there's actually a full like print of that art that you could get online that I might look for. Another one, this one got an 8/5. Yeah, not the best shape. I think this one got docked pretty hard for edges. Yeah, look back here. The edges looked fine to me, but maybe they caught something I didn't. But there's also like a blessing in disguise in my mind where if I get multiple cards back in different grades, it means that I can list them all at once instead of having to wait for the duplicates to sell. So, I don't know. I'm trying to make the best out of getting lower grades, I guess. Another supporter Pikachu. That's just an expensive card now. Switching over to some English. Let's see. Very minty. This one looks super fresh. I think I know what this is. I believe it's a full art Pikachu. Yeah, SWSH020. This is from the Sword and Shield figure collection. I'm surprised they don't put that on the label. They just put Black Star promo. That's a nice card. A CGC 9 English is still cheaper than the Japanese one raw. So I feel like this is a no-brainer to pick these up for like $100. And maybe you can get these in a 9 for like 80 bucks. I think that's a great deal. I think this is just a bunch of that card. More 9s. It seems like I have a lot of these. There was a store that had a sale pretty much a year ago now for $15 a box for those collection boxes, and I bought like 15. I very foolishly sold these promos you see here for $5 a piece, so I only had like 6 left over, but that's what I ended up sending in January, and that's what I got back. 8/5. This one got docked for edges, but the centering and centering and surface were also 8/5s. 10 corners though, so maybe if you're a corner collector, you can get that up, pick that up. Let's see, more English, probably just another Pikachu. Oh, we're moving on to some staff cards. This is a Gigalit staff from Emerging Powers. You see right there, it has like a very faint gold staff symbol in the left hand, and then the set code on the right. This was a card, like this is type of card that I was picking a bunch of. I thought staff cards were just an interesting investment or purchase because they're not that common. They're not really that easy to find randomly. Like you have to kind of go out of your way to look for them. And they were fairly cheap at the time. I think these were only a couple dollars. But since then, staff cards are, I'm pretty much priced out of purchasing most staff cards at this point. So I'll just cherish the ones that I picked up and graded. But that's a cool one. Let's see. And the black and white stuff, that's those staff cards and pre-release cards are just from the sets. So it's not really unique art, which is a bummer. They do that later on. Here we have a Pretend Comedian Pikachu 9/5, strong grade. This is one of my favorite Pikachu promos from the Sun and Moon era, just cool artwork. Another Pretend Comedian Pikachu 9/8. It's from a Pokemon Center opening. You can see it in the label. I can see, let's see, Osaka DX. I like it because the artwork's nice, and I mentioned this a lot on the channel. I really like stamps. Just give me a set card with a stamp on it, and I love it a lot more. Like this card, if it had no stamp, I kind of find it plain, but that Astonishing Volt Tackle stamp is really good. This is Pikachu 124. This one's dropped a bunch in price, which is good if you want to buy it because the artwork's fantastic. But yeah, if you are in the market to buy these cards, I would probably wait another month. I think around late July and early August you're going to see a lot of people get those back from bulk subs. Kanazawa Pikachu in a 9. This is the first one I ever got back graded. I kind of messed up. I should have sent them in standard because they more or less hit a peak, like a bell curve, and have dropped since then. But more 9s. This is another one too, like that 124 Flower Pikachu. I would wait off on buying them. I think late summer, you're going to see a lot more of these dump into the market, which is bad for sellers like me. But, you know, on your end, if you want to buy them, you know, it presents an opportunity. Just really cool artwork though. Pikachu in the kimono with the balloons in the back. 995, that's what I expect for my Japanese promos. English, pretty rough condition. I'm not really sure which one this was, but you see cornerware, edgeware. Mewtwo, base set shadowless, 7.5. That's a pretty good grade in a base set holo. Shadowless holo of everything. I like the Psychic. I like a lot of the shadowless cards because the card color itself was lighter, so there's more contrast with the holo. It's a little bit more eye-appealing. But I picked that card up and these upcoming cards in a binder in December. So, you know, I've had these out grading for quite a while now. But then I finally get them back. It's nice. This one's nice. The Zapdos. And if you never noticed the difference, just look up side-by-side comparisons of Shadowless and Base Set Unlimited. You'll see there's a pretty big, pretty stark difference in the color of the cards. Here's the worst condition one. It was a 5.5 first edition Shadowless Machamp. You know, this is obviously cool because it has the first edition stamp, but you have to remember if you're looking for this card, is it released in theme decks. So it's the most common of the first edition holos. So while you have to make sure you're aware of this when you're buying them, it also gives like a great entry point if you want to pick up those cards. Here we have Trico. This is a Pokemon Center opening card done in the Yukimori style. Very popular clay style. She still does modern sets and arts for the Pokemon Company. But that was just a cool one. Like you see a lot now with those, like the Kanazawa. That's a modern Pokemon Center opening. That Trico is an old Pokemon Center opening. It's cool to collect them all. Here we have a 7.5 Victory Medal. It's funny because when I got that card, that was like the first Victory Medal I ever had. But you know, since then you've obviously seen that I've picked up quite a few more since. Clefable EX. This was like the first couple of EXs I scattered in. Beautiful card in that CGC 8 near mint to mint. EX cards are so good. They are so stunning, especially in these crystal clear slabs. They really just pop. More, I'm guessing. Yeah, Wigglytuff EX. I like this one in the background. It's almost like planets. I think it's like Saturn and Jupiter. And what's cool about this is they really leaned into that CGI style. Like, this is the era. You don't really have other eras of Pokemon where this art style is replicated. Like Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield blend together for the most part. Even X and Y, XY Black and White blend together, but this was very unique. And they didn't, I mean, obviously they didn't bring back EXs. They cut them off at, I believe, LP is the, yeah, I would say around, I think, no, Diamond and Pearl, sorry. Diamond and Pearl is when we stopped them. More beat up. These are pretty damaged. I think this is, oh, Mew. This was a cool one. It's from a box. I think it's very hard to pull in English, but it's a promo from Japan. Mew gift box. Low grades, super low grades. But I've kind of been pushing onto my friends that low grade stuff is still fine to buy and invest in and sell. Because a lot of people are getting priced out of high-end slabs, or they're just not coming up for the sale in the market. And these, what I believe personally is, you're buying the card end of the day, and if you know, you got to realize people have to, you put in time and money to get this stuff encapsulated, and it's preserving the card for the future. And if it presents well, that's what matters most to me. If the card looks and presents well, I think it's worth it. Here's the Nidoking No Rarity. I've spoke about it in the past. No Rarity is considered like the first print of Japanese base set. It just doesn't have a rarity symbol bottom right, but you know, being the first print of Japanese base set in '96 means it's technically the first print of Pokemon altogether. Or finishing off with 8.5 Kanazawa Pikachu. Some pretty good grades on the modern stuff. I would say between 8.5 and 9.5 is where I expect it to be at. A very good 3. This looks like a troll card to submit or a junk slab. I'm not selling this. This is one of the only, I think this is the only EX I ever pulled as a kid. I don't remember when I pulled it, I just remember always looking at it and keeping it in my binder. So I moved away the pile to keep going. Another Shibuya Pikachu in a CGC 9. I think this is going to be quite a few because they're all like stacked together in the submissions. A 9.5 in that card. I like it. I think the card I liked a lot more when it first came out. When I first bought it, I've just come to know that there's a lot more promos like out there for Pikachu, and it's fallen down. I like this one, I think, a little bit more. I think this is a 20th anniversary promo card. There's a couple of names bouncing around like Sakura Pikachu, Flower Pikachu, but now there's the new Flower Pikachu. But this is just a beautiful card. So cute of Pikachu holding the flower bouquet for you with the glittery background and the vibrant colors. It's really nice. And I mean, just look at it. It's so fun to look at. Here's a Charizard VMAX. This is from the Japanese starter decks, CGC 9. I like this card. I thought it was undervalued in Japanese. It's doubled since I last bought them. But, you know, I got one in this sub. I know in my February sub I have around 20 coming back. So I'm excited for that. Charizard CGC 9, Cracked Ice Hollow. This is from the Vivid Voltage theme deck. The card's not performing that well. That might just be a long-term hold for me. Maybe they'll pop up once they stop printing the deck. Charizard V. This is the full art from the Champions Path Elite Trainer Box. I still think that's a good buy. Charizard V and CGC 9. You can pick these up slab super cheap. I actually just saw someone today selling 9s for $27 on Facebook. That's an insane price to me. Jesse and James full art, mint 9. This is from Hidden Fates. One of my favorite full arts. I think that card is so good. One of the best Sun and Moon full arts, hands down. Special Delivery Pikachu, mint 9. I have quite a few of these since my earlier submission. I think I did a standard with them. Another 9. This one's a little tough. 8.5. Oh, sorry. This one's a little tough just because so many people are competing to sell them. Psyduck Munch promo. Beautiful card. Psyduck with Gengar and Haunter stalking him in the background screaming. Unique artwork. Dynamic artwork. This is just stuff that, like, I always talk about loving. Sadly, I didn't pick up more. That's my only regret. I'm just sad I didn't buy more before they tripled in raw price. But I'm happy with what I have. Another staff card, a Alolan Sandslash from Guardian Risings in a near mint 7.5. That gold staff stamp right there. Cool card. These I picked up, I believe, as light played from TCG Player. So I would say 7.5. Like, a near mint card is probably late play. Like, that's very passable. Like, technically light play would be, you know, a 6. This is a Trevenant Breakpoint pre-release. Yeah, I was a little silly with this one. I think I bought the staff version from TCG Player, and when the card came in, I put it in a card saver to send to CGC, and I didn't realize that it wasn't the staff variant. Here we have a Salazzle Crimson Invasion staff card. This one's kind of tough. A lot of these darker ones, it's tough to see the staff stamp, but it's there. Japanese new bag. Rowlet from the Munch promo. Cool card. 8.5. 8.5 is a little rough in these considering they're not hollows. 8 is even rougher, a CGC 8. I think I ended up listing this one right around the raw price, which I think is fair. You know, I would say 8 is worth getting, like, picking up. If the raw price is 100, I'll just buy the graded one for 100. Rocket Zapdos EX from Rocket Gang Strikes Back. This is probably my favorite EX set. Beautiful artwork. Another one, probably from the same set. Let's see. Rocket's Articuno EX. This one is a little bit more common to find because it's not a set card. This comes from a half deck in Japanese, but just great artwork from that generation. Moving forward, more Japanese new back. Let's see. I take a little bit of time looking at the back, it seems. Deoxys EX and a CGC 5. I think we've officially crossed over into the junk slab, the quote-unquote junk EX slabs that I graded. I think it was like 70 or so EX cards. Here we have a Deoxys. The first one was from a starter deck. This one is a set card. I prefer this artwork, honestly. The 5.5, that one. But the deck card one is hard to come by. Like, that's... Oh, this is a good example. This Deoxys non-hollow EX, I personally value as higher than the two of those hollow ones, just because it's from a very hard to find Deoxys deck. So that's why like a lot of this was cool for me to do, is when I sent all these cards in, I wasn't too familiar with them. There's a great example: Domino's Snorlax, Slowking Prime promotion. It's just so funny that Domino's Pizza has such a cool promo card, and the card itself has nothing to do with Domino's. It's just Slowking Prime with the stamp. The more Japanese beat up cards. 4.5 Rayquaza EX. I believe this one is from the starter deck. First edition stamp as well. I was just going to say, when I submitted all these EX cards, I ended up learning a lot of how rare they are. Like, a lot of these cards are not easy to come by. They're from hard to find sets now. Like, you can't find packs for Japanese EX series for decent deals. You can't find the cards cheap anymore raw. And you can't find like the decks. So much stuff you can't find right now in the current market. That was a cool one. That was another example of a non-holo from the decks. Latios. Beautiful Dragonite EX. Great artwork. This is probably one of the pinnacle EX artworks if you want to collect any of them. I think that's one of the great ones to start with. Like, some of the other ones you're going to end up seeing are a lot more extreme in terms of CGI or like intensity. But that one just looks good. This is another great one, I think, of Flygon. Not the most popular Pokemon. Really fat swirl, top right. But just nice art. I think as I was going through these myself, I was just looking at the back, and CGC 5 Mightyena EX. This is also from a deck in Japan. Mightyena is just not that popular, but you know, the fact that it is from a hard to find item now makes it cool. This one's really rough on the back. Yeah, as I was going through these, I just realized that like I'm getting pretty good at pre-grading this stuff. 3.5. Shift Tree. That is from a set. I have a not promo, but a rare version later on. I got really good at grading these low grade stuffs by eye, so like I feel like I've improved as a grader quite a bit after looking at this stuff and getting these back. Like, I could kind of just tell by looking at the back a ballpark grade, which is really helpful for anyone that looks to grade a lot of cards, because I think learning how to pre-grade stuff yourself will save you so much time and money, and make you money for that matter in the long run, if you actually understand what to look for and how to judge card conditions. I think that's such a good skill. CGC 4. Like, sorry. That's a long point. But that's probably my, just a fun thing that I noticed is I've gotten pretty good at understanding card condition. CGC 5, Venusaur EX. Those come from a starter deck with Blastoise and Charizard. But the English ones are super expensive, so I still think Japanese for a fraction of the price is a great idea and purchase. Muck EX, that's one of like the super intense EX cards I was talking about. That's a little bit more polarizing. 8.5 Celebi Prime. This is really amazing to me that in like the sea of these bad grades, to get an 8.5 and a holo card, especially a prime card, was really cool. This was a clean back. CGC 7 Medicham EX. In Japan, those came from a quick starter box, which is pretty much like a half deck of 30 cards. Amaldo EX in a 4.5. Really nice artwork. That one's not really like the CGI style. That one's just like a nice looking card. It was like simple artwork with a nice hollow background, hollow border. Same card in a little bit of a higher grade. 7. I think once you get to a 6 or 7, people would consider it like a high grade card for this era. In my opinion, I consider that high grade, considering how much hollow foil there is. Like, these cards damage super easy. 4.5 and Hitmonchan EX. I'm kind of like polarized by that artwork. I don't particularly like it. This Kyogre I do like though. Kyogre EX first edition. I believe that's a set one. And this should be another Kyogre if I'm not mistaken. Oh, Kingdra EX. This is another first edition. This is a good example of like that super CGI high contrast art they did for the era. Milotic EX. This is from the same like half decks that Medicham was from. Weak grade but popular artwork. Crota EX. This is also from a Japanese gift box. I think from the same box set that the Mightyena that you saw came from. One of my favorites of all time is this Politoed with the tongue sticking out. It's so goofy, but Politoed has really nice artworks. Articuno EX. This is actually a play promo. You have the little red P stamps. If you ever see that, you know what that's from. In a 5. I don't know. Like, this was mostly fun. 5.5 for Alligator. Low grade cards. It seems weird, and people like joke about it with me a lot. They're like, oh, did you make any money off that lot that you bought? Which, to be fair, I thought the lot would be in a lot better condition. But overall, this was still like a pretty cool experience for me, for someone who hadn't bought that many Pokemon cards at that point, and who didn't have that many cards when they were a kid or at all. To be able to have such a huge diversity in card quality and quantity, it was I don't know. This is like a once in a lifetime purchase, I could say. I really doubt that I'm gonna find another lot on eBay or Yahoo Japan or Mercari where it's this many EX cards, this many cards from this era in varying quality and condition. It's just stunning. Charizard EX, and even in a 4.5, that's still like a pricey card. I think over $100 in that grade. 5.5 and Blaziken. Or I wanted to mention too that non-holo Ho-Oh that you saw there was a Core promo. Flareon EX. This is probably a good card to get back now. The evolutions are kind of on fire. People just, with the Eevee Heroes coming out and the alt arts, people are really, really buying into the Eevee cards, which, I don't know. I feel like they're really pushing Eevee to be the second mascot for Pokemon, which I guess they've been doing for a while with the games. Let's go Eevee, let's go Pikachu. But, oof, this is really cool artwork too with the... I didn't notice at first, but it's like a bigger face of Ninetales with those bright red eyes staring back at you as the background. It's really cool. And I don't know, people think that like I'm just joking around when I say it was a really good experience to grade all this stuff and go through and sell it and just buy it in general. But like I really truthfully stand by that. Typhlosion EX artwork. I like the previous one, which the first one I showed I believe is from a starter deck. Ninetales. This one was nuts to me. A CGC 9.5, which is by all measures a beautifully preserved card. That card was like in his deck box, and he was playing with it in a sleeve, and it came out after all this time in such great condition. Cactoon EX. This one's cool. This was also a card that was in his deck collection. A Scyther EX. This is from the Trico Constructed starter deck, non-holo, but a very rare card. You don't really see that card often in the non-holo variant. Same with this Lapras EX. They look a little bit flatter because they're non-holo, but it's just interesting because non-holo EX cards were from a very limited run of decks, and you're probably more familiar with the holo variant. So if you want to collect all of them, you have to actually look at the non-holo. Raikou EX, like that card's pretty pricey in holo, but I don't think many people know that there is a deck version that's not. 6.5 Hariyama. I wouldn't say one of my favorites. I do like him as a Gen 3 Pokemon. I think I like Makuhita a little bit more in terms of cuteness, but Hariyama, is doable. Like, I'm fine with him. More beat up cards. Regirock. This one is also a play promo, so you see that red P in the bottom. That one's a little too CGI for my taste, but to each their own. Dusclops in a 9. This is also crazy to me. Like, the way that this guy preserved his cards was he didn't really preserve them. He just threw them in the binder and played with them. So for one to exist in a 9 from that collection is nuts. 7. You saw this card earlier in a 5, but a slight upgrade into from a 5 to a 7. They present well. A 4, CGC 4. I would say the biggest takeaway I took away from, like, the biggest benefit that these cards have. 5.5, this is World Champions Pack. I just want to note that this was the World Champions Pack one. World Champions Pack is pretty rare in Japanese. Especially, like, the first edition is relatively rare, and the Unlimited super rare. This is a really mint card. 8.5 Vaporeon EX. Same idea, like, this card was unsleeved in his binder, yet after all these years of him playing with it, it still was able to be preserved in such high grade. This one also presented well, but I guess there was more damage to it than I noticed. 5.5 in the Sneasel EX. But overall, like, these cards look good from the front. A lot of the issues that you'll notice are on the back, like whitening on the back or creases, but they didn't really disrupt, like, the front. Oh, that's a nice swirl too on the Ampharos right by the neck. But yeah, these cards look good, and I think end of the day, if you want cards to collect, how they look matters more in my opinion. Rarity does matter too. Like a lot of this stuff is pretty hard to find, but you know, presentability, it matters most. 9.5, this is just that 143 Illustrator Charizard. This is a pack purchase promo from Japan. Very modern card. You'll see them a lot. Old back Japanese. So this card is labeled as Entei. I think on the submission form when I sent it to CGC, I wrote Entei. But obviously I got them mixed up because there's also an Entei promo. I'm just surprised CGC didn't fix it when they were slabbing it. Gyarados EX and that really crazy CGI one. While that one is a little polarizing, I do like that artwork overall. Lucario EX, this is Aura's Lucario EX. And then there's also this upcoming one, I believe, is Folklore's Lucario EX. Both of those are promos. They're technically promos. They're from like deck boxes, collections. Electabuzz EX expansion pack 2003. I think that's the first set that included EX cards. Zapdos EX, here we have a play promo, bottom right hand corner, as I said, with that red P. That's a really cool grade to have. You know, play promos are not easy to come by. Like a lot of the most famous ones are going to be the Umbreon Gold Star, Espeon Gold Star, but there's a lot of good play promos out there, and I have, you know, a couple more you'll see in later videos that I've recently purchased. Jolteon EX, Evolution Craze, I expect that to do pretty well, but that's probably my least favorite Evolution artwork. Raichu, this is from just a basic, like it's a basic holo, but it's cute artwork and was in good grade. I thought it would grade higher than a 7.5 to be honest. Infernape Level X, this is from the Diamond and Pearl era. This one as well, I expected it to be a little bit higher, so I submitted it, but 5.5 is kind of the average grade that I've gotten, so I can't be too mad. I think this is the last card, Camerupt EX, also from those half decks. But yeah, this was the submission. Thanks for watching.